Alaikum, Islam to all the Moors. I am Dr. Yusuf from Zion Law School. Welcome y'all to the free Astrotheology course. Our textbook is the Astrology of the Old Testament, or the Lost Word Regained. The Lost Word is astrology. Why is it regained? Because when you begin to learn astrotheology, you begin to learn the authentic Word of God, which is astrology. Okay? That's not hocus pocus, devils and demons astrology. That is nature. You begin to learn about nature, the natural phenomena. Okay, y'all? So, the other books that we use for this class are mentioned in the title of this video. All right? So we're already at, I think this is class number 22. And we're in chapter 3, which is where I wanted to be. Page 42. Okay, y'all, give me a second here. So I have my usual black coffee with honey. And this is a Vietnamese coffee bean. It's actually quite good. It's quite good. So Vietnam coffee is sold all over the world. When I was in Cambodia, several of the coffee shops were using Vietnamese coffee grind. But they had their own. Some of the coffee shops use Cambodian coffee. But I like to know where the bean where the coffee comes from, so that I can develop a palate and I can know. But anyway, that's just me. A little bit about me. Let's pick it up on page 42, scholars. Is it page 42, y'all? No? Page 41. Page 41. Oh, there was some. You know what? The last class, I was trying to show something. I don't remember what it was. I was trying to show, and my phone, the battery died. I kept losing the connection, and then the battery died. Maybe it'll come back to me. If it comes to me, I will show it. Or if you remember, just put it in the comments, and when I read it, I'll show it. But it cut off at exactly the wrong time, right? As a matter of fact, hold on, y'all. Let me check, see if I can find it. I'm using a new device. I'm not yet accustomed to it. I need to find some type of case, because right now it's not comfortable to hold. You know, it feels like it's gonna fall. Let me check my. Let me check this. Let me check, y'all. See if I can find it. Oh, I think it was Saturn. Saturn is El. The planet Saturn is the deity El. Were we talking about Israel, Isis, Ra, and El? Israel, Isis, Virgo, Ra, the sun, as in Ra, sun rays, as in Amun Ra, Ra, Amun Ra. And then El, so El is sometimes also called the dark sun. Okay, the dark sun. So y'all go back and listen, watch the video, watch the class rather that I did right before this one. I think that's number 21. At the end, you'll get that information. And some people liken Saturn to quote unquote black people because it's dark and all of these other things, discipline and all of this other stuff. Here we are. So let me show y'all this. So in astrology, Saturn is Satan. I explain why. Saturn is at the opposite end of the same line as the SUN sun. So the sun is the father, and the sunlight is enlightenment, wisdom, etc. At the opposite end of that line, if you draw a straight line from the sun to Saturn, we're dealing with the Hermetic law of polarity. So opposite in ancient Ibaryath or in Hebrew, as most of you all know the language, would be Satan. Okay, would be Satan, or opposite, or opposer. Okay, y'all? So, in astrotheology, Saturn is Satan. I just explained why. The cult of El, E-L, capital E, capital L. All right, so take a look. And y'all do your follow-up research on this. Pause the video on the replay and just read right above this image. Read right above the image. Okay? Now, as you can see, natural phenomena has been anthropomorphized into a god. Okay? And these are images. These are popular company logos that are actually Saturn. Now y'all should see the Great Pyramid. So I have to look to see what, I know what it is. It's not the Great Pyramid itself, it's what it says. But let me try to find that. But y'all see the Nike swoosh? Y'all see here? I found this one to be most interesting. Y'all see the square or the cube? Okay. If I remember correctly, Saturn has a cube in its northern hemisphere. But let me check it to make sure, because I don't look at this stuff every day. All right. So you should also correlate this with the notion of God. This notion of God. The Egyptians, the ancient Kemites, or so it's said. All right, let me put it like this. So it is said that the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Kemites, had a special relationship with people who came from the star system called Sirius. Well, Sirius is the dog star, the dog constellation, the canine constellation. Hence, you get Anubis, the Egyptian deity Anubis. Okay, y'all? Saturn is L-E-L. Anubis is the dog star. Dog spelled backward is God, and this is where you're getting the notion of God from. Okay? That's another origin of this, I don't know what else to say, this complicated word God, G-O-D. Okay? So let's throw that in the pot. Now let's make it even more interesting. Let's make it even more interesting. The ancient Kemites had a covenant or a contract with those people from the star system called Sirius. They had a contract or a covenant. And they kept it in an ark. And they called it the Ark of the Contract, the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, now do y'all see why they're using God? This is another reason why they're using the word God. all up and down the Old Testament. All right? Y'all see that? So if this is new information to you, go ahead and do your own research before you give it full faith and credit. Okay? Nothing is credible until you research it out for yourself. That means asking analytical or critical thinking questions. Okay? You can even write them down. Get you a list of critical thinking questions. Start doing your research, answering the questions. As you do research, you'll find more questions. You'll get better questions. Okay? But anyway, I wanted to bring this to your attention. Let me see if I can find... so look at the dollar bill. Y'all see at the top of the dollar bill, it says, "In God we trust." That's in Anubis. We trust the dog star, the dog constellation. That's ultimately meaning in Saturn. In Saturn we trust. In Satan we trust. All right. Now, for those of you who are in the religious paradigm, for those of you who are still in the religious paradigm, this is Satan. For those of you who have freed yourself from the religious paradigm, you understand that Saturn is Satan, is simply natural phenomena. So here's the straw, here's the sun, the central fire, and then all of the planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, etc., all the way to Saturn. Saturn is the last planet. So the sun and Saturn are on opposite ends of the same line. Hence in ancient Ibaryath, hence in Hebrew, Saturn is Satan. Because Saturn is furthest away from the sun, and Saturn has rings around it. Saturn is the lord of the rings. Let alone, the other planets orbiting rings too. Saturn is the lord of the rings. But Saturn is the furthest away from the sun. And Saturn is said to be black. Dark is also referred to as the dark sun. So dark in nature, people have associated with evil and wickedness and ignorance. Because people do wicked, evil, bad things in the dark. They think they're not going to get caught. Nobody's going to see them. Also, darkness again means ignorance. You're in the dark. You didn't know. Y'all see? So because it's dark, because it's dark, Saturn is said to be what? A punisher. Evil, wicked, but also discipline and things like that. But Saturn is not totally evil. I'm just giving y'all the story as it pertains to what I'm talking about. Okay, if you want to know more about Saturn, you got to go back and do your own research on Saturn, okay, to get the whole story. But that's the point. So dark, evil, take the D off of dark and put it in front of evil, you get devil, and you get Satan. Why? Why Satan? Because Saturn is on the opposite end of the same line. Okay, y'all? Saturn is on the opposite end of the same line. So again, we have good, light, dark, and evil. And the religious people and the Christians associate the blackness of Saturn with Moors. Okay? So if the sun is the cause of light, and light, solar energy, is the cause and supports the existence of life on planet Earth, Saturn has to be the opposite. Death and destruction. Why? Because of the law of polarity. The law of opposites. Everybody see that? So, okay, so let's go back to, let me try to find, all right, here we are. So I'm just going to read this. So here's the back of the dollar bill. Look at the wording at the top, y'all. Look at the wording at the top. So this is how it reads. On the back of a U.S. $1 bill, you'll find the phrase Annuit coeptis novo ordo seclorum, which means, quote unquote, agreed to undertakings. It means agreed to undertakings. A new order of the ages. Well, that's different from a new world order. A new order of the ages. While many believe this means, quote unquote, new world order, it actually means a new order of the ages. The Great Seal of the United States was first designed in 1782 and has been printed on the back of the U.S. $1 bill since 1935. And Prophet Noble Drew Ali was the man responsible for the Great Seal being put on the back of the $1 bill. Why the $1 bill? Because everybody would have a $1 bill. Not many people would have a $50 or $100 bill, right? But everybody could get a $1 bill. You'll also find this phrase on the coat of arms of the Yale School of Management. So y'all go check it out. Yale's University's Business School. The phrase Novo Ordo Seclorum is taken from the fourth Eclogue of Virgil. The fourth Eclogue of Virgil, which contains a passage. This is in lines 5 through 8 that reads, so he has it in Latin and English. I'm just going to read the English, okay? Now comes, listen y'all, now comes the final era of the Sibyls song. The great order of the ages is born afresh. The great order of the ages is born afresh. And now justice returns, honor rules return. Now a new lineage is sent down from high heaven. Oh, what does that remind y'all of? A new lineage has been sent down from high heaven. A new lineage. The Moors fell. Who came to power? In 1782. A new lineage, might this be, y'all, the Neanderthal, the hybrid troglodyte niggers, the Paleolithic caveman? Might that be what this is referring to? A new order of the ages is born afresh? A new group? The Neanderthal managing, the Neanderthal, the executive power, the judicial power, the legislative power across the planet. A new order of the ages is born afresh, going from self-governing by the Moors and what was happening in Europe with that serfdom being spread all across the planet. Might this be what he's talking about? I don't know. I really don't know. But anyway, y'all, it is what it is. It says here, now and now, justice returns. Honored rules return. So is this justice in terms of the Constitution for the United States of North America and the Republican form of government? Giving justice to those fugitives and paupers, fugitives from justice and paupers and hybrids. I don't know. That they would be given access and use to our land in the, on the East Coast in those 13 colonies. And that's justice. Because see, in the Americas, we already had justice. We already had it. Or is this talking about, and I'm just guessing, y'all, or is this talking about justice in terms of punishment? Punishment for the creation. Let me rephrase that. Punishment for those genetic engineering projects that ultimately produced the Paleolithic caveman, the Neanderthal. Is it poetic justice? And now justice returns. Honored rules return. The honored rules appears to me to be natural law. The great order of the ages is born afresh. And now justice returns. Honor rules return. I don't know, y'all. If y'all have some ideas, put it in the comments section. Now, this is what gets me. Now a new lineage is sent down from high heaven. A new lineage is sent down from high heaven. So this new lineage, there's no other new lineage than the hybrid troglodyte niggers. The Neanderthal, the Paleolithic caveman. The Moors, whose nativity was from what's now called Europe, well, we're the same bloodline. So that's not a new lineage. This is talking about bloodline. Lineage, bloodline, genome. A new lineage. So in my mind, this has to be the Jacobian work product, which is the Neanderthal. But again, I don't know. There's a lot of other people who know this much better than I do. So if y'all want more on that, find those people. This website is in5d.com. in5d.com. All right, so that was pretty interesting. Okay, page 41. Page 41, let's make it happen. on page 42. All right, y'all, so we are on page 42. Okay, the first paragraph. The second paragraph on page 42 reads, "This is a beautiful illustration of the darkness of night giving way for light, and the morning breeze dispelling the damp dews and clearing away the mists and lifting the clouds from the land and ocean divided by the horizon." Horizon, the zone of Horus. Backward. Horizon, zone, Horus. Okay? Y'all see the trick that they played there is actually the zone of Horus. It also is the signification of birth, youth, manhood, and old age. It also signifies purity, desire, satiety. You feel full, you had enough, you're satisfied, and abhorrence. I wonder why abhorrence. I wonder why abhorrence. So what the author is talking about, y'all, I'll go back to the first paragraph to give you some context. The first words of the Bible states, quote unquote, "The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the evening and the morning were the first day." And so on, always beginning with the darkness first. Always beginning with darkness first. So the light came from where? The light came out of darkness. But technically or literally, this has nothing to do with anything that you would learn from doing a literary analysis of the text. It doesn't say this at all. What I mean is that when you look at the etymological meaning of the words in the verses that he's talking about here, it doesn't mean what he just said. Doesn't mean it. So here again is another example of the limitations of this book. The author should have given us, he should have cited something, given us ancient Ibaryath words, Hebrew words. He should have given us some philology. He should have, if he could, I don't know, maybe there's no books to cite that he's able to do so. Maybe those books are a secret, I don't know. But he should have given us something. Otherwise, these are just claims. Empty claims. Okay? So anyway, let's continue. Next paragraph. Libra. The sign of fall or autumn is worthy of particular notice. This is the season of unleavened bread. So Libra is the season of unleavened bread. And in Chaldean, Egyptian, and Hebraic astrology, among its numerous meanings, Libra signifies a table. Let me repeat that, y'all. In Chaldean, Egyptian, and Hebraic astrology, among its numerous meanings. So Libra has many meanings. One of which is, it signifies a table. It is the fall Passover or autumn equinox, or the point in which the Escheat sun crosses the celestial equator. Remember? So if this is the Earth's equator, project the Earth's equator outward. 0 degrees, okay? So the celestial equator, the line he's talking about is only Earth's equator, projected outward at 0 degrees. Okay, it's an imaginary line creating an imaginary northern hemisphere and an imaginary southern hemisphere. Okay, guys? All right. So Libra, let's go back to it. It is the fall Passover. I like to refer to it. So here's the summer solstice, June 22, thereabout. Actually, June 19 through 22, any one of those days, the sun is falling. And when it gets to this line is the celestial equator, 0 degrees. So as the sun falls, we enter into autumn, the fall. And when the sun crosses below the celestial equator, the sun crosses below, the sun is crucified. The sun crosses below, the sun is crucified. And hence, you see in the text, it is the fall Passover, the fall crucifixion. Passover crosses below, okay? So keep in mind, for the fall or autumn equinox, use the expression, the sun crosses below, the sun is crucified. And for spring, the vernal equinox, use the phrase or expression, the sun passes over, because from the winter solstice, December 21, 22, the sun is now from December 25, rather, the sun is ascending northward. So it's going to pass over the celestial equator. So when you use the different terms, it helps you to orient yourself. Okay, so it passes over, the sun passes over in the spring, and it crosses below in the fall. Okay, so now you know that in the fall the sun gets crucified. So in religion, Jesus gets crucified. It had to be in the fall, right? It had to be in the fall. Probably on what? Probably on September 22nd, because that's when the sun literally gets crucified. And Jesus is reborn, right? Easter. Jesus is reborn on between March 19 and 22nd. And that's also the Jewish Passover, right? When the death angel passed over the Israelites, and that whole story. Okay? Anyway, let's keep going. Where are we? Okay. Or the point in which the SUN sun crosses the autumn or fall equinox on September 22nd, when the SUN sun rises at 6 and sets at 6. So the sun rises in the morning at 6 a.m. and it sets at night at 6 a.m., 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. Concretely, everybody gets 12 hours of sunlight and 12 hours of night. Abstractly, that's called justice. That's called righteousness. Abstractly, okay? That's called equity. Let's continue. At this time, the new wheat or fruit of Virgo, the celestial virgin, or in Greek mythology, Ceres, C-E-R-E-S, C-E-R-E-S. So Ceres becomes Circe, Ceres becomes Kirky, Circe, in modern English is church. Okay, so Virgo, celestial Virgo, or in Greek mythology is Ceres, C-E-R-E-S, the bread giver. Right? So Circe has a stalk of corn or wheat in her hand. All right, everyone? The bread giver, the harvest in autumn, the wheat and the corn. Okay? So Circe, Kirky, church. You go into Circe's house. You ain't ever coming out. Circe robs you of your mind, puts you under a spell, and then Circe lives off of you. So when you go into a church, you get that indoctrinated, you get that indoctrination. It's very difficult for people to come out of these churches once they go in. The church takes over your mind through indoctrination. Have you scared to death? And you know something's wrong, but you still won't leave. Because one, you may feel like you don't know where else you will go. That's all you got. As one of my friends says, that's your foundation. That's my foundation. I'm not letting it go. Even though I know something is seriously wrong. That's how deep the brainwashing goes. All right, y'all? If y'all never tried black coffee with honey, try it. It's really delicious. Okay, y'all? Now there's a natural phenomena, the celestial phenomena, and then there's a religious remix and the mythological remix. Okay? Undried, so the bread is undried. It's still moist and not fairly fit for use. Well, because it's not fully dry, it's not fit for use. You can't do nothing with it. Okay? Because it is undried and not fairly fit for use, will naturally be soggy and heavy and will not leaven or rise, but falls at once on baking. Y'all got that? But because it is an offering of first fruits of the womb, again, the bread is an offering of first fruits of the womb. So this is in Libra, right? Of the womb of nature, Mother Nature, the womb of nature, right? The first fruits, the first harvest, August. The wheat and the corn. Okay, first fruits. Okay. And which was ordained by Moses always to be an offering unto the Lord. So the feast of unleavened bread. Now you know the story about the feast of unleavened bread. As a thank offering to God. Well, wait a minute, who is God? Who is God? We just covered who God is already, right? God, Anubis, the Sirius constellation, the dog star, or the dog constellation. Dog spelled backward is God. All right? Those beings in that constellation come to earth and make a covenant with the Egyptians. They make a contract with the Egyptians, and then the Egyptians stored that contract in what they call the Ark of the Contract, the Ark of Covenant. All right? But note also that the first fruits to God were not of much use to man because the grains were too moist. They weren't fully dried out. So if you bake the bread will fall. So man, in this instance, isn't really losing anything. right? Because the grains were not suitable for baking. So they give it as a offering to God. In other words, you didn't lose anything. You didn't lose anything of value. All right? In this instance. So let's keep going. All right? Moses was, and which was ordained by Moses always to be an offering unto the Lord, so that the feast of unleavened bread as a thank offering to God, capital G-O-D, to Anubis, to Sirius the dog star. Dog spelled backward is God. Confuse you a little bit more. Throw in a capital G. Okay, and you ain't gonna ever figure that out. Right? Why? Because you won't have anything to read, and plus you don't know how to read. Because they're not gonna teach you how to read. You have no idea about etymology or philology, so you don't know nothing about nothing. Except for what? To believe what your pastor, what your more, what your moshe, what your imam and rabbi have been willing to share with you, which is nothing but religion and fairy tales. Any and everything to keep you indoctrinated and to keep your eyes and ears uncoupled from your mind. So they can keep getting you to willingly pay them a tithe every month and willingly give them more of your money to support their different projects that almost never come through fruition, and to give them money so that they can live a more luxurious lifestyle. All right, and to get you to give up your birthright. To give up your birthright to these secular governments. Okay? To get you to admit publicly that you are a Christian. And therefore, under the jurisdiction of the Dogon, under the jurisdiction of the Holy See, under the jurisdiction of Maritime Admiralty, Catholic canon, Christian policy. You heard? And that's all you got out of it was screwed. That's how selfish they are and diabolical. And there's no intelligence in that. Anybody can be wickedly evil. There's nothing smart about that. Let's continue. So the festival of unleavened bread was sacredly kept and is the feast of Sukkot. Even the North American Indians commemorated. Well, there you go, y'all. Even the North American Indians commemorated. Well, now, why would they do that? Because North America is Kemet. But of course, there's more to Kemet than just North America. Right? We are the Al-Moroccan Empire. Period. That's why they do it. But of course, there's no such thing as an Indian, right? What he's saying, what he's saying is that the Moors, the Al-Moroccan Empire Moors, did it. Or kept it. Even the North American Moors, even the Moors of the Al-Moroccan Empire, commemorate Sukkot, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And in their first fruits of harvest, the still unripe but sweet corn and beans is Succotash. Succotash. Remember the cartoon Suffering Succotash? Now this Libra is in man, the womb, the fall sign. Again, this Libra is in man, the womb. Man with the womb, a woman. This Libra in man, this Libra is in man, the womb, the fall sign. Here the season of fall commences. Okay, so according to the author, fall begins September 22nd, September 19th to the 22nd. This is an Aries sign, and this sign merges into Scorpio. So Libra ends and Scorpio begins. Scorpio is a watery sign, which, heated by the mists created by the still warm but declining rays of the sun sun. In other words, in the fall, the temperature is still good. Now, those of us who are from North America, and we were there a long time, or still there, you know that this is true. Okay, you know it's true. Heated by the mists created by the still warm but declining rays of the sun. Why is it declining? Because the sun has crossed below the equator. Right? Christ gets humiliated, slapped, spit upon. Okay? Horus's evil brother Set is now beginning to rule. Darkness. The days are getting shorter, and the nights are getting longer. So the declining rays, the days are getting shorter. The declining rays of the sun produces, listen to this, y'all, produces a secondary heat from its proximity to Sagittarius, a fiery sign, and creates a secondary summer. What is this talking about? Well, in the spring, what made the plants begin to grow? The days were getting longer. So the vegetation were exposed to sunlight. The temperature was getting warmer. So the conditions were set for the vegetation to re-emerge, the next generation to re-emerge, right? So in the fall, the exact opposite is happening, right? The exact opposite is happening. The solar energy is becoming less. So the plants are getting less sunlight. So what happens in the fall? The leaves start to turn orange and yellow and brown, and they fall on the ground. Now, those of y'all who grew up in places where there are a lot of trees and other vegetation, one of the things you'll know is that when a lot of leaves fall in a pile, they start to steam. You'll notice steam coming from them, right? Well, what's happening there? Well, they are decomposing. Why? Because there are microorganisms and insects that are eating them, digesting them, and they produce heat, steam. So this is what the author is talking about. So this is all natural phenomena, y'all. We're dealing with the cycle of what? Life and death in terms of vegetation. When the plants are receiving less sunlight, the leaves will eventually fall off. Fall on the ground, and they begin to decompose. And that decomposition creates heat. All right? So let's do it again. But declining rays of the sun produces a secondary heat from decomposition of vegetation from its proximity to Sagittarius. Okay? Sagittarius is a fiery sign and creates a secondary summer. Y'all ever notice that? Right? You're in the fall, moving toward winter, but it just feels so good. Sometimes it feels like summer in the fall. So this is the secondary summer. And this is cyclical, okay? And creates a secondary summer occasioned by the ground, which had become by early frost bare. By early frost bare, it got cold. Now the ground is bare, but by these frosts also covered with the falling leaves, and their steam produced artificial warmth or heat. In other words, decomposition increases the temperature, increases the average temperature, makes it feel like another summer, but it's a secondary summer, a false summer. Or renewed heat spontaneously in the early November, for Scorpio is entered by the sun on October 22nd. And this summer, for artificial heat, is but a betrayal. It's but a betrayal. It's a fake summer. Politely said, it's a secondary summer. What's the mechanism, y'all? The mechanism is the decomposition of vegetation. And likely to return to frost at any time. So it's a betrayal. Well, wait a minute. Didn't Judas Iscariot betray Christ? Make the connection. See the connection? The natural phenomena. The natural phenomena remixed into the character, into the gospel story. Jesus Iscariot betrayed Christ. Well, the decomposition of the vegetation that fell to the ground due to the nights getting longer and the days shorter causes a secondary or false summer, which is a betrayal, because winter is, bam, gonna hit you soon. Okay? All right, so let's continue. The leaves turn red and fall, and the color of the sign Scorpio is red, and signifies the serpent who betrayed. Whoa! Signifies the serpent who betrayed. And also Judas Iscariot, which relation we shall elucidate later on. Okay, y'all? This is the natural phenomena remixed into the gospel story. Y'all share this video, like it. In fact, subscribe to the channel. It ain't gonna cost you nothing. It'll help the channel. It'll help me get this message out. If y'all subscribe and like the video, okay? It will do something with the algorithm. I don't know YouTube's algorithm, but it'll definitely help. Y'all subscribe, okay? Show me some love. Subscribe. And like the video. Don't just take. Don't just take. All right? Give something. It's just push that button. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Don't just take from me. You see, who else is giving you this information? Who else is giving you this information? I'm not just talking about it. I'm giving it to you from the source. I'm not hiding it from you. I'm not giving you a few citations. I'm giving it to you from the source, explaining it to you, word by word, sentence by sentence. Okay, so I deserve it. All right? Subscribe, support my work. And y'all buy my books and subscribe to the class and everything else, okay? Show me some love. Let's continue. These secondary summer-like days continue in the early November, but on December 22nd, the sun enters the winter solstice. The favorite house or stronghold of Saturn. The favorite house or stronghold of Saturn. What's Saturn's favorite zodiac sign? What's Saturn's favorite house? Capricorn, which is at the winter solstice, okay? December 22nd. i.e., the Christian Satan, and winter, the death of the year, ensues, and coldness intervenes, and cold Capricorn, earthy sign, leading, and this sign in Hebrew is called the renewer of life. Let me read that again. The Christian Satan. So in other words, the planet Saturn is the Christian Satan, and winter. So wait a minute. So hell is actually winter. Hell is winter. And the sun is at its lowest declination in the south on December 22nd. And space is a bottomless pit of dense darkness. It's so cold that it'll burn you, like a freezer burn. Right? Like a freezer burn or frostbite. So you're burning in hell. Not a fiery place. That's just to scare you. The fiery place is the S-U-N sun, the great central fire. See how they play with your mind? They got you scared of hell. Fire. When fire is actually the S-U-N sun producing the heat that makes life possible on planet Earth. All right, so they got you upside down. All right, so let's continue. All right, so Saturn is the Christian Satan, which is winter, and winter is the death of the year. Okay, December 22nd is the death of the year. Wait a minute, I recall that the heavenly bodies are for signs, times and years, etc. So it's a sign of the death or the end of the year. The death of the year, okay? All right, y'all? And then there's coldness. The cold Capricorn. Capricorn is the earthly sign. All right? It says leading. And this sign in Hebraic is called the renewer of life. So Capricorn is the renewer of life. Why? Because although the sun has been accompanied to hell by Michael the Archangel on September 29, on December 21, thereabout, the sun stops casting a shadow on the sundial. For a full 3 days, there's no shadow cast on the sundial. So our ancestors spoke of this natural phenomenon as the sun being dead. The sun is dead. Why? Because for the whole year, it casts a 1 degree shadow every day on the sundial. All of a sudden, on December 22nd, 21, 22, there's no shadow cast on the sundial. The shadow, a 1 degree shadow, is cast on the sundial at the exact end of December 24th, which is the exact beginning of December 25th. Now there's a full 1 degree shadow cast on the sundial. So the sun has been renewed or brought back to life. The sun has been resurrected. Hence, renewer of life. Okay, Capricorn, renewer of life. Hebraically, let's continue. Hebraically. Okay, Hebraically. It is followed by the Aries sign Aquarius, the water bearer, or Aquarius, in the Latin and Roman, but in the Greek language, Jean Baptiste. Uh-oh. Aquarius, the zodiac sign Aquarius in Latin is Jean Baptiste, or a Watergate, and handed down to us as John the Baptist. John the Baptist, Jean Baptiste in Latin is Aquarius, and we get from that John the Baptist. What does John the Baptist do? He baptizes Jesus in the water. Aquarius is the water bearer. Okay, y'all? This is fun, right? This is fun. So this is the remix of natural phenomena into the gospel story. Y'all share this video so as many people as possible can get this information, okay? And it's the way I'm giving it to you. I'm not just talking. I'm reading it right from the source. Okay? It's a big difference than to hear someone just talk compared to getting it exactly from the source. There's a big difference. Okay? Into this sign, into Aquarius, the Escheat sun enters in January. January, Janus, the past and the future, the two-faced deity. And the annual January thaw takes place. And the mantle of winter, or a death robe. Winter is a death robe. But wait a minute. The favorite house of Saturn is Capricorn. A death robe. Don't priests wear black robes? Don't the magistrates wear black robes? Why? Why? Well, because they're secretly worshipers of Saturn, worshipers of El. Saturn is El. The brotherhood of Saturnalia. All right? All right, y'all? When you go into the devil's pulpit, he'll talk to you about, you'll read about they being worshipers of Zoroaster, etc. Y'all go check the devil's pulpit on this topic. This explains a lot. But this is just too much, y'all. Let me read this just one more again. Capricorn is followed by the Aries sign, Aquarius, the water bearer. In Latin and Roman, so in the Latin and Roman languages, it's Aquarius, the water bearer. So the water bearer's name in Latin and Roman is Aquarius. But in the Greek language, the water bearer's name is Jean Baptiste. or a water gate. All right, that's the meaning. Water bearer, water gate, and handed down to us. In other words, we got Jean Baptiste was given to us as John the Baptist in the gospel story. Let's go back down, pick up where we left off. Okay? All right, so, and the annual January thaw, the snow is melting, takes place. Now remember, our orientation is the northern hemisphere. And the mantle of winter, or death robe, right? Winter is the death of the year. December 22nd is the death of the year. The mantle of winter, or death robe, is torn to ribbons, or the snow melts in streams, while the blasts ruffle the streams, which this sign represents Aquarius. So Aquarius, the snow is melting, and the blast ruffles the streams. This blast, I'm assuming he doesn't say what it is. I'm assuming he's talking about the blast of wind. Okay? Ruffle the streams. So the warm air is helping to melt the ice. All right? In turn, this sign, in turn, Aquarius, is followed by Pisces, the fish sign. The fish sign is a watery sign. Pisces is a watery sign. The sun sun making its ingress. The sun enters into Pisces on February 22nd. This sign, or Pisces, is typical of the clear ice which covers the lakes and rivers. The clear ice that covers the lakes and rivers. And the fishes, large, good, and fat, because so long unmolested. Okay, so the surfaces of the rivers and lakes were frozen, so there was nobody to do any fishing. And the ice is only on the surface. Depending on the temperature, that would determine how thick the ice is at the surface. But below, the fish are still doing their thing. So they get fat. Right? They get fat. They fatten up. They grow in number. Okay? And the fishes, large, good, and fat, because so long unmolested by fishermen, become now the chief article of diet in those countries where none of the modern facilities of intercommunication and supply are to be obtained. In other words, let me restate that. Whatever a man soweth, that he shall also reap. Whatever you sow in the spring, whatever type of maintenance and cultivation work you do from spring to summer until the harvest, if you didn't do much, your harvest is going to be small. If you didn't do anything, you're going to be out here robbing and stealing. Right? Because whatever you sow, that you shall reap. And the Son, the Yeshua's Son, is righteous. Okay? Jesus is said to be that righteous one. The Son, Yeshua's Son, the S-O-N Son, is that righteous one who pays you at the harvest for the work or for the cultivating work that you did on your own land, on your own farm. All right? But if you didn't do enough, by the time January and February comes around, you're not going to have anything to eat. You're going to be out there fishing. You're going to be out there chopping holes, cutting holes through the ice, trying to catch fish so you can eat. Okay? Now, why am I saying this? Because the author says here, in countries where none of the modern facilities of intercommunication He's talking about commerce. So countries where you can't go to the market and get your supply of food. Okay, well, let's take the commerce out of it. Let's not deal with commerce. Let's just deal with every man has his own stuff, his own vine and his own fig tree. Okay? You're going to be out there fishing. That's all you're going to have access to eat. Why? Because you ran out. You didn't have enough stored away. All right? So let's continue. And it was during this time with the sun, the S-U-N sun, in Pisces, that the ancient worshiper of the grand central sun had his feast of fish, February 22nd, as a bountiful gift from the Almighty. All right? Of course, our ancestors were not worshiping the sun. We studied the sun, we studied nature. And from that science, we developed technologies. And we use those technologies. Not worshiping. This is European stuff. Okay? Don't fall for the okie doke. We did not worship the sun. All right? They're trying to say we were primitive, indirectly, dumb. You'd have to be a fool to worship the sun. Would you go out there and worship? Y'all tell me, would you worship the sun? Or would you study the sun? Clearly, you would study the sun. You would study nature. Only a fool, only a caveman would think to worship the sun or to worship anything else. Let's continue. Oh, by the way, the on in Greek is Heliopolis. Okay, the city of the sun in ancient Kemet in Egypt is On. So for example, Solomon, Sol is three radicals. Sol, Om, An. Sol, S-O-L, is Latin for sun. Om, I think it's Hindi, is also sun. And then On is also sun. From three different languages. Three different major esoteric languages. Solomon, Sol, Om, An. Sun, S-U-N. Okay, y'all? So let's continue. And the Christian believer calls that festival Lent. The Christian believer calls this festival Lent. Yeah, we're February 22nd. All you got to eat is fish. Each sign has 30 degrees corresponding to 30 days. Each zodiac sign has 30 degrees. Each zodiac sign has 30 days. So each day is 1 degree. Okay? Each day is 1 degree. There are 12 signs or 12 months. And 12 solar months make a year. 12 solar months, not lunar months. 12 solar months make a year. So thus, they were for signs, for days, for months, for seasons, and for years. And for years. The apparent revolution of the S-U-N sun passed through the 12 signs, passed through the 12 zodiac signs in a year. The apparent revolution of the sun passed through each of the 12 zodiac signs in 1 year. And thus they were for years. The sun commenced at the new year or spring in Aries. Now remember, that's modern astrology. The commencement of the acceptable year of the Lord, or the acceptable year of the SUN sun. They're the same. So when does the acceptable year of the Lord begin? March 19th through 22, thereabout. That's the beginning of the acceptable year of the Lord, and the year ends on December 22nd, which is winter, the summer solstice. The year dies, rather. Okay? Now let's continue. The sun culminated in June in Cancer. The sun reaches its highest elevation on June 19th through the 22nd, which is the summer solstice, which is Cancer. Or Greek, listen y'all, or Greek Jean, or John. Y'all remember that. Go back to the Devil's Pulpit and research this. The link is in the description area of this video, along with some books that I have written on Ancient Ibaryath. Y'all go buy those books and get yourself educated, because everything I'm doing, you can do too. You just need to get yourself educated. It's going to cost you some finance to do it. It's going to cost you some time and effort. You know, you're going to have to pay. But you're going to pay if you don't do it, because you're going to suffer ignorance. And that's a higher price to pay. Okay? The sun culminated in June in Cancer, or Greek Jean, or John. Y'all remember that. The gate of fire. Okay, now, Aquarius and Cancer being the double-headed Janus, the deity Janus. Aquarius and Cancer is the double-headed Janus. Why? Because Aquarius is John the Baptist. Aquarius in Latin and Roman is Jean Baptiste. Okay? June, which is Cancer, is John. So John and John, the double-headed deity Janus, the god of January. As a matter of fact, I'm going to come back to it. Let me continue with this and finish it up. The sun commenced his fall in autumn. The sun continued falling in autumn, or Libra. And the coldness of death ensued when the sun got to Capricorn in December. Thus they were for seasons. So these zodiac signs are for seasons, y'all. That's the author's point. These zodiac signs are letting you know the seasons. The moon passeth through these signs in a month, or Old English in a mooneth. Month, mooneth, M-O-O-N-E-T-H in Old English, M-O-O-N-E-T-H, mooneth. The moon passeth through these signs in a month. So the moon passes through the 12 zodiac signs in a month, which is in Old English, mooneth. And thus they become signs for the month. So now the zodiac signs become signs for the month. What's your zodiac sign? What month were you born in, right? Everybody see that? That's based upon the moon. And the earth, turning on its axis, pass through the signs in a day. Right? The earth passed through the signs in a day. Thus they became signs for a day. And as the day formerly commenced at sundown, So the day began at sundown or evening and ended at sundown the next day. So, quote unquote, the evening and the morning were one day. This chapter and its analogy to the original fall of man hereafter. All right, y'all. So, congratulations. If you have been here with me from the beginning, we completed chapter 3. So we're going to go to chapter 4. All right, this is really good stuff, right? So let me show y'all a picture of Janus. So Janus is June, Cancer, and Aquarius. Why? Jean Baptiste, John the Baptist. So let me see, y'all, if I can, let me see what I can find. Hold on. One moment. Oh, no internet. Hold on, y'all. So let me see. Hopefully, I'm connected. Give me 1 second, y'all. Am I? Give me 1 second, y'all. I gotta. Can you connect me to the? Can you connect me to the Wi-Fi, please?
Bây giờ nó ý tôi một mặt của một mặt mà đây là không có
Okay, thanks. Hold on, y'all. All right, so let me see if I found it. Give me 1 second. So when I show these images, scholars, this is for you to do just a point in the direction for you to do your own research, okay? All right, so I'm at Stormy. Well, let me show y'all. Star Myths of the World. Let me see, how can I do this one? Star Myths of the World. So this is John the Baptist. Okay. Now here's the constellation Aquarius. All right. So y'all check that out on your own. So here we are. Again, the constellation Aquarius. Okay, so this is the remix of natural phenomena into the gospel story. Aquarius remixed into John the Baptist, who baptizes Jesus. All right. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find something else. All right, y'all, take a look at this. The head of John the Baptist, y'all see that? So in the devil's pulpit, he takes you through the head of John the Baptist. So y'all go back, read it in the devil's pulpit. or go through the class. I did a whole course recently. Just before this course, I did a whole course, 138 videos, 138 classes or so on the Devil's Pulpit, and and I discussed this. Okay, John the Baptist's head on a platter. Okay, so you'll know what that means astronomically or in nature. Okay, because it's just a remix. Okay. So give me 1 second. Let me see what else I can find. So this is a weird image of Aquarius. Let's see. So here again, Aquarius, the water bearer. You'll see Pisces underneath. Y'all see Aquarius, the water bearer there? Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, so take a look here. This is how the Zodiac sign is connected or put together. Do y'all see it? Okay, scholars? So give me 1 moment. Give me one moment. So y'all can get more about John the Baptist and June or Cancer. June being the double-headed god Janus. I'm searching for a good image. Okay. So here are some images of Janus. See one head facing forward to the future, looking to the future, the upcoming year, and another head looking back to the past. Or, more practically speaking, somebody you can't trust. Two-faced, okay? Someone who's two-faced. Let's just keep it real. Someone who's two-faced. And y'all know a two-faced person ain't no good, right? So, this is Aquarius. And over here is Cancer, okay? Give me 1 second. me 1 second, y'all. Let me try another search term. Hold on. All right, let's see. Okay. So I searched Cancer and Aquarius Janus. So let's see what I can get. Hold on. One moment. Okay, y'all might have to just go into the devil's pulpit. I don't want to make the video longer than it has to be. But anyway, these two signs, Aquarius and Cancer. Okay, these are both Aquarius, Jean Baptiste in the Bible, in the New Testament rather. This is John the Baptist. Cancer, June, Jean. June, Jean. Okay, so these are the double-headed god Jean, Janus of January. All right. Okay. Wow, they hide this pretty good because I don't see anything of value, at least. This is just nonsense. Hold on. So this is why, y'all, I need to buy the books. But of course, these books cost finance. If I had the books, I could just open them up and show you. So it's pretty obvious to me that this is not available for public consumption because I don't see anything. Oh, by the way, going back to Saturn, the women wear earrings in worshipful honor of Saturn. Kings wear crowns, and I got this from Jordan Maxwell. He has a video. Y'all search Jordan Maxwell and Saturn. Kings wear crowns. You know, the crown is in the shape of a ring in honor, in reverence for Saturn. And of course, women wear a wedding ring in worshipful honor of Saturn. Okay, and Saturn is Satan, Hebraically, and for the Christians, Satan is a real person. And Saturn is L, capital E, capital L, deity. Okay? Anyway, I don't see it, so I'm going to close it out right now, y'all. Thanks for spending your time with me. We're going to come back and begin on chapter 4, which is page 45. I can't believe we're 45 pages in already. All right. So y'all support my work if you're learning. Buy my books. The links are in the description area of the video. Learn Ancient Ibaryath so that you won't fall for the okie doke. Okay, you have to learn linguistics. When you get the fundamental skills together and you get used to this type of study, this stuff becomes easy for you. And your eyes become coupled with your mind again. You recouple your eyes to your mind. And you recouple your ears to your mind. You break that spell. You break that spell. Okay? Also, subscribe to my one-on-one Ancient Ibaryath course. The link is in the description area of the video. And y'all show up on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link is in the description area of the video. You don't have to pay to come to the class. You can come until you feel comfortable. Or I might put a limitation on how many times you can come. But read the course description, okay, so you can get the details. Islam to all the Moors. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom.
Nhưng mà anh đồ em phải đi được.